welcome to the next episode of Dhanda series by Omkara Capital. A very interesting company, Dodla Dairy Limited. The IPO is coming. So we really thought that let us really understand this very interesting sector, which I think has a lot of opportunity in India, but in stock markets may not be loved a lot, barring only one company which we know, which is Hudson. But before I even start the interview, a big disclaimer that me, Varinder Bansal, or Omkara Capital, we don't have any financial dealing with the gentlemen who are sitting over here or with Dodla Dairy. There is no business transactions, nothing at all. The entire attempt is to learn about this industry and, of course, Dodla Dairy Limited. So I'm very happy that the entire management of Dodla is with us, Sunil ji, Reddy ji, and Anjan ji. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming and helping us to learn about this industry. You will be our guru today. I'm also joined by Tejas Mehta, of course, who is the director research of Omkara Capital. As I told you, he will ask all the tough questions. I'll ask all the stupid questions. So I really request कि जितना हम simple तरीके से बात कर सके, we always say no jargons and full दिल से conversation. तो वो हम करेंगे, sir. As I said, thank you so much, three of you, for being on Omkara Capital.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity, sir.
Thank you. थैंक यू सर. हम हमेशा बोलते हैं कि हमारे जब भी हम किसी बिजनेस में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो हमारा 3 P's है. पहला P प्रमोटर, दूसरा प्रोडक्ट और तीसरा प्राइस. तो हम सबसे पहले प्रमोटर की तरफ जाते हैं. तो प्लीज हमें समझाइए, बिकॉज आप 3 लोग हो. आई विल बी लाइक अ रिटेल इन्वेस्टर. आप तीनों कौन हो? डोडला डेयरी कैसे फॉर्म हुई? आपका बैकग्राउंड क्या था? आपका एजुकेशन क्या है? आपकी फैमिली में कुछ बताइए. ये कंपनी कैसे फॉर्म हुई? दैट इज व्हाट वी वांट टू नो.
Thank you, Ankar sir. To start with, I'll start with myself. My name is Sunil Reddy Dodla. I come from a place called Nellore, which is north of Chennai city, 200 kilometers north of Chennai city. It's in southern Andhra Pradesh. My family comes from a village close by from Nellore. I have done my engineering by profession from Bangalore University. After engineering, I started doing things like I sold mangoes to Singapore and I sold shrimp feed. Basically, my family comes from a village near Nellore called Mamadapuram, and we still have our agriculture there. My grandfather was the one who moved out of the village, came to Nellore town. They went into construction. My dad went into other businesses, and I started Dodla Dairy along with my dad. In way back in 1995 was incorporation, sir. 98 was when we started commercial production. So I'll take you through even more detail of the company later. I'll also now give an opportunity. I'll also introduce my team. BVK Reddy, otherwise Busireddy Venkata Krishna Reddy, otherwise known as BVK, has been with us from the inception of dairy. He's been a career dairyman, educated. He will introduce himself. And Anjaneyulu Ganji, or otherwise known as Anjan, is our CFO. BVK sir, can you introduce yourself, sir, as your education qualification?
Sunil ji, before I jump to BVK ji and Anjan, so just help us to understand. So in your family, how's the structure? You are the only son in your family, which is like from Dodla family. Is it the only company what is there, or there are other businesses as well?
Sir, I am actually, we are 3 siblings, sir. I have an elder brother, I have myself and my sister. My sister is married to Dr. Satish Reddy, who is in Chennai. They live in Chennai. My brother also lives in Chennai. I live in Hyderabad. My brother earlier was doing his own things of doing some paper industry, which was shut down. And now he went into construction and he's no longer doing that. He had met with an accident at some point and then sort of retired out of that also. My father was basically involved with all of us in terms of, he was the one who gave us the funding in the early days when we started. He is 80 years old now. He's the chairman of the company on Dodla, but not actively involved, but always there for advice and takes us forward as we go forward. So that is the family. As businesses, as we've disclosed in the DRHP, from my side, we do have small things as what we call in the DRHP as, GVC. It was an enterprise we tried to do with the government of Andhra Pradesh in trying to do a dairy farm. Then when we also, I floated a small thing called Dodla Nutri Feeds to make cattle fodder, which goes as chara to be made. So whatever I feel like doing, which is not in the best interest of Dodla as such in terms of return or R&D, I try to do it in my personal capacity, but all of them are invariably associated with the dairy industry of how to take it forward and how to go forward, sir. So that is regarding my family and what are the other companies that we do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. BVK ji, a word about you, sir, please.
Sir, myself, by profession, I'm a dairy technologist. So it started with Amul. So I was working in Banas Dairy. So I was there around 3.5 years in Banas Dairy, Palanpur, Gujarat. Then I moved to Madhya Pradesh for 6 years. Then after that, I came back to Andhra Pradesh and joined Mr. Sunil Reddy in the Dodla Dairy.
Lovely. So you are with the company since last what?
Since from the inception, since 1997, before commencing the production.
तो आपको भी ESOPs मिला होगा sir?
Yeah.
Very good. Lucky you. Anjan ji.
Hello, Virendraji. So myself, Anjanelu Ganji. People call me Anjan because of pronouncing difficult in pronouncing my name. So I'm basically from Guntur, which is a part of Andhra Pradesh. So I born and brought up there, and previously I have completed my professional education from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and then I got my management education from IIM Ahmedabad, and also I did my Six Sigma training from Cummins. And previously I'm associated with Tata Cummins Group based out of Pune, and then post that I have moved to Mars, and now with Dodla Dairy. As a CFO. So I have joined Dodla Dairy in the month of Jan this year.
So it's a family-run business, right, Sunilji?
You see the family on the screen, sir.
Okay, well, got it. No, it's nice, sir. So Tejas bhai, interrupt me anywhere, wherever you want, okay? कुछ भी. So Tejas told me यार कि this is a very tough business, कोई पैसा बनाता नहीं है इसमें. So हम लोग when we were discussing about Dodla in the morning, Tejas, maybe you can, think about or talk about the business, right? Because we want to understand कि आप पैसा कैसे बनाते हो. इस इंडस्ट्री में पैसा बनता है कि नहीं बनता? Because अमूल ने पैसा नहीं बनाया, तो आप लोग कैसे पैसा बना सकते हैं?
Yeah. So the initial understanding that I have about the dairy business, reading about Hudson, reading about Heritage, reading about how Amul, being a cooperative society with the least profit motive in their mind, they have kind of throttled the dairy business in India by and large. Okay, so from a limited understanding that I understand is that value-added products really don't make much money because Amul is present over there as well, and most of the dairy companies end up selling basically milk and the basically water-based products, which is your curd, which is your chas, lassi, and all of that stuff. Because you have to be able to make money, right? Globally, people make money mainly from protein, which comes out of milk. Versus in India, you have to make sure that you are able to use anything and everything that the milk can give in order to be able to make money out of this business. So this is the basic understanding. If you can help us understand more in detail, whether for or against this argument, that will be helpful. Second thing that I would like to understand is what is the size of the market in your view, and where do you stand within that entire market size? Because it seems to be a very fragmented market. There are many unorganized, small, local dairy players, which can be of huge competition. Even for value-added products, you have, very local ice cream manufacturers which are like boutique shops. Okay, you have several unbranded cheese manufacturers in the country today. So, and then there are foreign competition also, which has come into India with all these cheese and all these products. How do you position yourself with so much of competition landscape panning out? So if you can just help us understand these things.
I'll take it into three things, sir. I'll take you from the margin perspective, then the market perspective, and then because of Amul, I would rather call it from the cooperative perspective. Sir, I'll take it in those three steps for my understanding in terms of taking it forward. I'll first take the margin perspective, because that is the one which has brought us here. Way back in 1997, when we started commercial, when trial runs in 98 April, we started commercial operations. We had a venture capitalist also had invested in us in those days. So it was called APITC Venture Capital Limited. It was not government, it was private when we didn't have money. I'm bringing the investor into, because right now we're talking of it in context with the public markets. Dairy industry looks like saying it doesn't make money, it makes money only, as a percentage, it looks small. But the return on capital in the dairy industry is very, very good. Sir. Meaning to say, our capital deployment, our asset to capital ratio, asset turn ratios are very high, because it is a business where we have an everyday turn of our business. We process milk, procure milk, and then sell the milk, and we get the money every day. The industry's profitability is very much driven by the team that runs it and the dedication that it runs it. Like any other business, sir, where it is run well, you'll have always the outliers who are doing extremely well, and if it is not done well, it doesn't do well, and otherwise it stands in the middle of struggling to go around. And in my view, that is purely driven by the talent of the people on board. So if I try to say I will do the whole thing myself, it is not feasible to do this, because as you grow in size, right? So dairy, although we talk about it as milk, yes, it is milk, but it is also a hugely logistic operation, a huge technology operation, and a marketing operation, and an aggregator at the back end. For a quick brief, today, if you look at it, we are going to now close to 6,800 or close to 7,000 villages. We go there every day. We deal with 1 lakh odd farmers every day. We procure milk at the village level every day by dealing with the 1 lakh farmers, by giving them the information on a daily basis as how much of milk have we procured, what quality, what fat, what SNF, and it is transmitted to them. Every 10th day, money is paid into their bank account. But if I bring it again to the technology part of it, we use robotic business automation, because to scan the 2,20,000 reports every day to see discrepancy, what goes on. These 2 lakh odd then come into our chilling centers, which are the 6,800, not chilling centers, 6,800 collection areas. So we have improved. Earlier, the collection area would be a third party whom we would disconnect our association of payment. But right now, we're going up to the farmer, and the third party gentleman has now become only a consolidator. He has no say in quality or in the quantity, because the weighbridge is automated, the fat listing is automated, it goes into our main servers, and 10th day, the payment is correlated and then paid to the farmer. From the 6,800, where basic tests of quality are done, it comes into our 94 chilling centers. Currently, PRHP was 90, we have added 4 more from them. It comes to these. Again, we ratify the 6,500, 6,800 odd villages that is coming from to these 93. There is correlation made. This then goes into the chilling, and once it refrigerates, from there it becomes only a cold chain that takes over. From there, the milk goes to our 13 plants. It then gets processed there, and then it is operated from there and disbursed from there to the markets. So why I bring this, when you look at this chain, we are no different from the cooperatives. In fact, we are better than certain cooperatives. Yes, Amul, being the largest in the country, he has been in the business the earliest. We are the latest entrants into this business if you look at 98. If you look at Hudson, he started ice cream and started business in 1975 or 1980. I'm not sure of the dates. Then he was into milk earlier than us. So similarly, any company which has done its job in trying to be disciplined, running, going forward, improving itself and moving forward, and the right team of people operating it, the Herculean job, the tediousness of it becoming a routine in 360 days of a year, are the same like the cooperatives. Now, bringing it to the margin, yes, Amul might not have a shareholder, but Amul's margin, he says, is I'm giving it to the farmer. So if he wants to give a high price to the farmer, he also has to give a high price to the consumers. He cannot just do one or the other. Right? He is not saying I'm trying to bring down the price for everybody. He is trying to take the whole system going forward, saying I want to improve my product mix or brand. So we look at Amul as a healthy competitor who is improving the system. So we are also a part of the improvement. That is what it comes. There are lots of other cooperatives which have not done that well. If you take cooperatives like our smaller cooperatives, a lot of them have failed away because of, you call it not having improvement, not going and doing. Now, that is the reason why I say that cooperatives are, that's a village level where there is procurement. The farmer is not worried whether it is a cooperative or whether it is a private sector. All he's looking at is, am I getting paid on time? Am I getting the right price for my milk, and am I going forward? And that is a job that we have done very well and done extremely well. I think we can pride ourselves. We're on par with Amul or Hatsun in that we have been able to catch up, do the investments, and keep going there. Sir. And when it comes to the selling also, that game is 70% of the business, because quality, I cannot bring quality in a plant. I have to bring quality in my procurement. If I bring my milk in time, instead of keeping it later, the consumer might not know it, but my bacterial load comes down, which means my flavor and taste becomes better. So to move it from there to the chilling centers to the plants on time. And the logistics business, like I told you, sir, today at 5:30 in the morning when I'm picking up in one village, at 5:30 in one city, we are selling the milk also. Sir. And to coordinate all this of picking up the milk, delivering the milk, picking up the milk from the farmer, we have to do it seamlessly. So we use your algorithms for planning your logistics. Like I said, we have gone up to business automation in terms of procurement availability. And that is not visible to the customer, but that is what we have constantly been doing. That is the reason on the cooperatives as much as we are one among them. Amul is a larger, bigger cooperative has been there the earlier time. But now where are we going is because of this consolidation that is happening. And like any business, if somebody doesn't constantly keep growing, upgrading, and moving forward, they will start losing ground. And wherever that is, the people who are not doing it are losing ground, and people who are doing it better are going forward. Coming to the question of margin, what you said about liquid milk to value-added products. Yes, sir, value-added products have a little more of margin. Because from a consumer point of view, they are buying it out of convenience, not out of price. For example, if I buy my milk and make my dahi at home, it will be definitely cheaper than me buying a packet of dahi from the market. But today, dahi is bought from the market from a convenience point of view. So somebody for a 2 rupee difference in price, which is 60 rupees a month, nobody really cares. They want the convenience, they want to have the confidence of quality and all that. It's not that just because there's 1 rupee difference. Yes, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, when we started, people were at that level. Today, nobody really cares. I take an example of somebody who comes to my house to help us out in our household work. She buys our UHT milk in pouch, which is more expensive milk as pasture. Then I ask her, why are you buying this? He says, sir, it's easier for me. Me and my husband both are going to work. My children are going to work. I buy this UHT milk, I leave it in a box in the house. I can cut it, use it, and then go. I don't have to worry about refrigeration, go buying my milk in the morning and come. So what I mean to that, as Indian economy has improved, sir, people have come to convenience also. It is not only price. So it is slowly moving away from a commodity to a question of convenience, quality, flavor, and other activities. To bring it to your third point in terms of market share, sir, if you look at it broadly in the areas where we operate, sir, we think, sir, and this is our numbers, this is what we have done in the, putting on our competitors and our numbers. So this we say that private sector in the, the areas where we operate of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka put together, in our view, private sector is already at 54% of the markets. And the cooperative sector is at 46% in the organized sector of the selling, right? We might be different in each areas. In that, if you look at it, for us, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana as a combined state, 40% of our volume comes from there. And I think if you look at that there in the state of Andhra Pradesh, will be 11% by market share. Telangana, we are small, we will be around 3%. In Karnataka, we'll be the largest among the private sector guys, we'll be around 9%. And in Tamil Nadu also, we're still smaller, we are at around 4%. So combinedly, we'll be at around 7% in these states where we operate. So there is enough headroom for us to grow as and when things are, as we said, as people get tired out, organizations, like when sir asked me saying, is it promoter family driven or whatever, it is that true sense for me in the businesses. How do you build the people, those SOPs, operating systems, the management that goes on? So opportunity exists, growth exists.
No, Sunilji, Sunilji, we understood this. Okay, thank you for explaining in detail. So what I understood from you is that you are a logistics company.
Yes, sir.
So you come from a logistics industry because सुबह हमारे उठने से पहले आपको सारा काम करना पड़ता है.
Yes, sir.
So that is how
365 days of a year. Come pandemic, Prime Minister announced lockdown on 23rd. But the industry, I'm not even saying Dodla, but the industry delivered milk on 24th to every household in the country. So there was no backing.
अच्छा, मुझे थोड़ा सा और सिंप्लीफाई करते हैं सर इस चीज को. अगर आप 100 रुपये कमाते हो, you earn 100 rupees, in your business, right? Can we have a unit economics of your P&L? जैसे आपने बोला, there is a business model of procurement, processing, filtration, all what you do in your business. Can we break up that 100 rupees after what you arrive at a 6 or 7% margins? कि किस तरीके से जाता है? I really want to understand that how you are different from other people and what differentiates anyone, whether it is you or the leader in the business. What is that critical factor in the P&L which makes the real difference?
Sir, yes, sir. The real differentiation broadly comes into only two areas, sir. Most of our fixed costs are the same. It is the gross margin of what we look at our procurement to our sales realization is a gross margin. The operation margins are all the same. Mostly they'll be around the same factor. And that comes to the EBITDA. And from EBITDA to PAT, obviously depends on how you have managed your finance. Whether you've taken away the dividend and bought in more debt, or you have not taken money out and you've deployed the money, therefore your equity seems to be higher. I'll ask Anjan to give you the breakup more, sir. But when it comes to the broad level, the gross margin improvements are becoming more and more steady, sir. If I stabilize my procurement more and more, because in the industry, we have this variation in procurement. So summer may animals give lesser milk and winter may animals give more milk. And market goes the other way around. Summer may markets increase because of the ice cream, lassi and all that. And winter may, when nobody wants food, the markets are slightly lower. So it is a way we balance out this equation, and how do we get that going? Coming to the market side, at what price we are selling, and like sir put it rightly, the mix of product between dahi and milk, what realization we are making. So that is what it is, sir. Earlier, the industry used to be, let us say, at Anjan, correct me if I'm wrong, at 3 rupees or 3.5 rupees a liter. Now we are moving ourselves to go to 4.5, 5 rupees a liter of margins, very, very broadly speaking. That becomes in the efficiency at all places, sir. So when you take a liter being sold at 48 rupees, or a number which Anjan will again give you exactly, and saying that I'm making that margin, it is across all segments. In procurement, we make more efficiency, like we said, because direct to farmer, eliminating the middlemen, better logistics, we try to make our margin there more. Our plants are more efficient because we have 13 plants, we procure locally, distribute locally, try to bring down the logistics cost. Yes, we might be a little poor on the brand side compared to a Hudson, but most of the places we also command a little market premium. So we sell at a premium in the markets than others, and people don't mind that 1 rupee, like I told you. So it is that multiple effect of procurement में 1 रुपया ज़्यादा थोड़ा सा कमा लिया, processing में add another 50 paisa, market में add another 20, and maintain regular margin like the others. So that marginal efficiency gives us the differentials. So that is how it works. And dairy industry में the percentages look different, sir, but we are more interested in the absolute margin. And the way I explain my absolute margin, अगर मैं 10,000 liters of milk sale कर रहा हूँ और 1 liter उसमें फायदा मिल रहा है, then my profit is 10,000 rupees. That is some attitude that somebody will take to sell things at a premium and make that margin. The same somebody will say, I'll do 20,000 liters of milk, I will do 50 paisa margin and make the same 10,000 rupees. बाद में जब भी चाहिए तो I'll increase my margin by then making it to 75 paisa and make 15,000 rupees a day. But it's a call where the industry is. When do you want to do what? We have long been trying to fight the battle of growth. So for example, when you see that year 20, when we see a substantial increase in margin, when COVID came in and things were at a standstill, you see the margin expansion happening because the sales price increase happened, the volumes were maintained lower, we get the substantial margin. So for every company, it's a trade-off between growth and bottom line. So it's up to where you want to push. Kitna grow karne ka hai, kitna bottom line ke liye. If I want to maximize bottom line, I will bring down growth. If I want to push growth, I will keep my bottom line to the extent of what I prefer. So in Dodla, we have always been taking it from an absolute number of what we think we require for our next year growth. Itna kamayenge, we'll put it redeployed in another plan. That's why if you see our balance sheet, we become a very strong balance sheet. We are almost debt free now, sir. And that is how we want to always build it. So we have the opportunity, agar kuch aaya, to growth karne ke liye hamare paas, we have all the potential. We can take more debt if we need at any point of time. We have our own cash reserves and then we can grow faster. So that has been our philosophy, sir. Any specific numbers, Anjan also can give you, sir.
No. So I want to come here one thing, if I can, okay? I always think about this ki education hua or dairy hua. These are basic and very important sectors for India. But unfortunately, I haven't seen any big company making it really, really big, $4, $5, $10 billion a company in India since last 50 years. It's only Hudson who has done some great work in the dairy industry. Heritage makes negative EBITDA margins, negative ROCs. We all know about the other one, Prabhat Dairy, ठीक है, उसके बारे में. Why is there, what is that unique thing कि जो इस industry में मुझे देखना चाहिए बार-बार as an analyst? But इतना फर्क क्यों होता है sir? Because these companies, because I think the capacity what Heritage has is more than you, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Installed capacity, sir.
Installed capacity is higher than you. Double than you. But फिर भी वो पैसा बनाता नहीं है.
So यहाँ capacity का problem नहीं है, sir. It's a question of Heritage is a pan-India presence. They expanded pan-India. Whether it will pan out for them or not is something they have to look at, sir. I cannot talk about my competitors much. We are a localized regional player trying to strengthen within the localized area of operations, sir. So that has been our philosophy. That's what we said. Our plants procure there, sell there, and we're consolidating in the local areas. So when you come and say what you should look at as safety, sir, again, I'll bring it back to steady state management growth, sir. Jo humne sikhaya, what we are doing, we continue to do the same thing. We are not going into any other things. And we have always been very focused when comparing it to Maharashtra, that B2C. We have not said value-added products, and we have not gone into very high value-added products with further value addition requirements that are there. We are core focused on saying milk, dahi, these are good. Next, and that doesn't mean we're not looking at others. We have the whole array. We have ice creams, we have this. So whenever we see the trend of the consumer preference going there, we are very, very capable of catching the trend. We caught that trend very well with dahi. We moved forward rapidly to make it 23-24% of our sale. So that is where you have to be careful about, sir. It's how the management is doing, how are they deploying their money, how are they using it, and how are they going forward. And it's a very, like you said, sir, because it seems to be the thin margins. If I make mistakes in a couple of my decisions, the impact is large. It takes me a long time to recover from those mistakes. So that steady state being under control is what is the key here, sir.
So
Because it's
मतलब
like a bank. We
so
work
मतलब सर मतलब कि जो अच्छा कंपनी है आपके सेक्टर में वो हमेशा रीजनल रहेगा. They can't go pan India.
So that's what I'm saying. The region definition changes, sir. Because if I look at our region of where we are operating, like I told you, I'm hardly a 7% player. By volume, it is bigger than Europe as a continent. By volume, sir, not by value. So the definition is up to our thing, sir. What I call by region is I rather grow what is contiguously. Like no, यहाँ पे plant डाला, strengthen this area, then go to the next area. So क्या होता है जब एक जगह पे ज्यादा दूध आता है और एक जगह पे कम दूध आता है, I don't have to move it to distances and lose my water, as sir earlier had said, that it sort of stabilizes within the system itself. So that what I mean by regional, you have to strengthen regionally and then go pan. Each state that I add is a part of my, let's say I would still call it region, but I will add Maharashtra as a region to me. I will add Southern Tamil Nadu where we are not present as a region to me. And that steady state growth is what we have to look at. So if I go too berserk, I will lose the ability to manage and control.
But then
Sunil, I'm still not able to understand where is your competitive advantage, frankly speaking, because
Efficiency.
I think most of the other players would be doing the similar stuff. Hudson, Heritage, everyone would be doing similar stuff. Same technologies would be implemented. Same logistics chain people would be implementing. Yeah, maybe the strategy is different on the distribution side, which I agree. But other than that, by and large, businesses are very homogeneous. It's not a very differentiating business.
Implementation of the business, sir. Like I told you, like at procurement mein bolna tha, sab aapko the farmer wise. I think in my view, Hudson and us are doing the best job. Others are way behind us. They might have the machine there, but the ability to convert it, to say that it is being paid, monitoring it to do. So I'll give you any business, sir. All businesses will have the homogeneous thing, right? In airline industry, to everybody. It is who runs that efficiently, makes every mile of it work, is where I come from. So that is what I said, the team of people running the system. Everybody will have the similar system, but who effectively uses the system? I can have a SAP system as well as what you know, but the SAP reports are as much as good as the person using the reports. So if people are able to react, if they're able to push it properly, and that is a prime reason when I come to, even when I go and say public markets, like how you are questioning me, that's where it helps us. It will help us be more transparent. It helps us to be disciplined. It will help us attract more talent. So these are the areas where we keep looking and going. So that is what it means. So when you look at return, I came into the capital of what, sir? 1.5 crore my dad gave me when we started to where we are 20 years later.
So the other question is on the margin side, which I wanted to know, why is the margin so high in this current 9 months? Even the gross margins have shot up significantly. They were only doing 20 to 23% earlier. It's shot up to 32%. A lot of it has come through inventory gains, right?
No, sir. What happened was 1920, our volume grew substantially, not only for us, for the industry as such. And milk procurement prices, because there were a shortage, we were moving it from longer distances and the prices were going up. So if you take mid-October of 19 to March, we were steadily getting milk procurement price increases. And the effect of the selling price increase that we took, as Anjan will give you the specifics in terms, sir, came in. From March, we had a very high price increase, which was continuing to go forward. And after COVID came, the procurement volumes were there and the milk volumes didn't grow that rapidly. So that is the reason why we got that huge arbitrage and profitability. Anjan, you can explain it to sir in that rupee term, no?
Yeah. So if you see financial year 2019-20, the net realization, average net realization was around 44 rupee 98 paisa per liter. So which majorly it spread across the year. So we started with around 41 rupees from the beginning of the year, April 2019, which we ended up at 49 rupees by the end of the year. So on an average, we made the net realization was around 44 rupee 98 paisa per liter of sale.
FY20 you're saying, right?
1920.
FY20, okay. Yeah.
And then coming to for the 9-month period, if you see, my net realization became, because now the sale price increase came into full effect. So my net realization came to 48 rupees 80 paisa around. So almost there is a 4 rupee increase in my net realization. So what we were expecting by the end of the 2020, March 2020, we are expecting the procurement prices will go up and it will remain stable at 34 rupees. So the average procurement price was around 32 rupee 98 paisa for financial year 2020. We thought it will remain there. But financial year 2021 for the 9-month period, my procurement prices went down and it became per liter 31 rupee 26 paisa was we settled at there. So that's why you see the increase in the net realization and also the decrease in the procurement cost gave this benefit. And even though this price increase, so it will be settled there. So we already passed this on to consumer from past 1.5 years. It has been at that rate. And going forward also, we are planning to maintain at that level.
So why has the prices fallen? Procurement prices fallen?
Because of the demand. So it is the supply and demand. So if you see the quantity, net quantity, how much is the availability in the market, that is what BVK sir can tell you in detail. So why the procurement
when see lockdown is announced, when the lockdown is announced, total Horeca on hotels, people transportation, traveling, railway, airlines, everything was shut. So overall, market consumption 15 to 20% has come down. Because of that, there was surplus in the system, procurement. So when it has become surplus, so in the surplus mode, people have reduced the price.
So it's basically transitory. This whole margin expansion is transitory. It will all move back to the 20 to 23% level once.
Now it will move up by another 3-4 points, sir, because the price increase we had taken was in consideration to move it back to the more by 4 points.
So earlier, our Anjan is explained, 2019-20, growth, top line growth was very high and demand, milk purchase price has gone up. Based on that, we have increased our selling price in the mid of year onwards. So that selling price, we continued. But, this procurement price has fallen after first lockdown was announced.
But what is the gross profit per liter, FY20 and 9-month FY21? Was the gross profit per liter?
Yes, Anjan.
So Anjan will give you the gross profit, sir. So why I'm saying this, sir, yes, we will say that we will not go through that huge margin, but definitely we are going to maintain better margins than earlier. It's not only me, the whole industry has moved forward in that.
No, sir, I think what Tejas is asking is that 9-month, I think the gross margins were 32%, right?
Yeah.
And normally the average is around 25%.
Yeah.
25 to 27%.
We are I'm not supposed to give you forward-looking number, but we will be at that higher number closer to the 30s is what I'm saying, sir. That will be maintained because the price increase that we have taken is there to stay. And procurement until another 2-3 years, until sales volumes are really going to go up and a shortage is going to come into the system.
So again over here, has everyone taken price increase in the industry? Because you alone cannot take the price.
Yes, sir. We have taken all the B2C guys are doing well, sir. B2B guys are suffering. Whoever had a large B2C presence, they could not take the hike. They are the ones losing ground. And all the B2C, if you look at our competitors also, all the B2C companies are doing very well profitability wise. All the B2B are going down in profitability.
BVK sir, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, same thing. You see in Hudson also, you have already seen Hudson results is declared. Hudson also declared, 14.5% EBITDA. But, you see earlier years, they used to declare around 9.5%. See, you see Heritage also, Heritage is declared 11%. It is there on the online. And earlier, last year Heritage declared only 6%.
But if you look at our competitors on B2B side, sir, they've declared negative results or lower results this time.
Yeah, but if you see Parag, in fact, it is down.
So this will be very geographically dependent also, right? Means as in geographically must have taken
actually, in fact, Maharashtra is the chief source for the raw material. So in spite of that, the people who are doing, value add, so they suffered. They see their profit is down compared to 20 March.
Okay.
So in terms of unit economics, if you see this 4 rupees price increase we took, it continues to be there. But might be if you see on the procurement side, I got a benefit of around 1.5 rupee. Even if the 1.5 rupee goes up, so we'll still retain this 4 rupee increase.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, the other question was on the capital efficiency. So you are currently doing about 3.5 times gross assets turnover ratio, right? Roughly 600 crores is your gross block and roughly about 2,000 crores of turnover. So how much more can you expand on the current gross block?
We still have a 30%. So right now we're handling 70% of our capacity, and our
Oh, okay.
600 gross block only increased from 300 to 600 in the past 3 years. We have deployed in terms of building out larger plants now. Earlier we would buy small plants or build small plants and use them to 100% capacity. Now we are building little larger plants with 5-7 years of horizon, and then trying to do more in that, sir. So that is why you see that little bit. But we are still at 70% capacity, and think 2 years or 3 years we don't need major capex right now.
So you mean to say that on the current gross block, you can expand from 2,000 crores to 3,000 crores top line?
At least 2527, sir. For me, it is 3 lakh liters, sir. Around 200 crores a liter. I can do another 3 lakh liters, at least 3 to 4 lakh liters
3 to 4 lakh liters
per day.
per day. Okay, okay. And so for your product mix currently is about 27% value added, right?
Yeah,
VAT.
27%
How is that?
followed by ghee and others, sir.
So two questions here. One is, in the last 3 years, when you doubled the gross block, was this incremental capex? Where was the incremental capex done? Was it more towards VAP or was it more towards the shunt products?
I think I could call it across, sir, because we actually built out 2 major plants. So one in Hyderabad, considering Hyderabad city where we are the smallest in market, and anticipating that even Andhra, the new capital, should be close. So we took midway, targeting 2 major cities to be there in the future to be our volume growth. And we built a plant for also. That is a plant where we put our ice cream clay, where we put our milk between larger and try to keep a bit of storage there. And now we have gone to another newer plant in northern Andhra Pradesh, where we are not present, sir, trying to reach up to Vizag. Earlier from southern Andhra Pradesh, we were there up to Vijayawada and Hyderabad. Now the Rajahmundry plant will take us up to Vizag. So these are the 2 blanks that we are trying to cover, sir. The weaker areas of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. With our KC Dairy acquisition, we are trying to get more and more into Tamil Nadu. So the acquisition of KC Dairy, Hyderabad plant and our Rajahmundry plant all have happened only in the last 3 years. So that's why we added this capacity. And once we stabilize this capacity, we'll again go forward to Maharashtra and southern Tamil Nadu, we are not present, and also coastal Karnataka.
So it's more of a geographical expansion strategy, the last.
So organically, we grow at 8 to 9%, sir, by value, and maybe 3-4% we also grow with geographically.
So this 30% capacity that you have, you are saying you will be able to utilize it in the next 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. So for the next 3 years, you don't need to do any more capex. As in, the capex will be needed, but that will be for future requirements. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, what normally happens in the dairy, sir, as our volume increases by a couple of lakhs, I need to put my chilling centers. So major capex will do in chilling centers, which are not capital intensive. So let's say for every lakh, I'll spend around 20 crores or 25 crores of chilling centers and associated equipment, and maybe 10 crores for regular capex, because when we have such a large 13 plants which are running, we'll always keep tinkering and adding something. That will be around another 10 crores.
So maintenance capex about 25-30 crores annually.
Annually 35 crores. So volume growth for milk to maintenance, all put together will be around 35.
No, maintenance capex is around 10 crores. To put up these chilling centers capex, so that is around 20 crores. So.
Okay, understood. So just broadly understanding, you are saying that about 14% margin, 14-15% EBITDA will be maintained, right? Is what you're expecting.
Even if you take it as 10-12 also, sir, we will have substantial cash generation happening.
Right. So I was just trying to understand. So
Organic.
on an average, if you take about 20 to 2,300 crores as a ballpark for the next 2-3 years, about 15% would give you about 300 crores of EBITDA annually. So that's about 900 crores of EBITDA over 3 years, right? And your debt is almost, you have about 120, 130 crores debt?
No, sir, will be net debt 0, sir.
Yeah, I know, net debt 0, but debt is there about 120, 130.
As of 9
No,
months.
that is to the tune of around 80 crores.
80 crores.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is hardly any interest expense. Depreciation is non-cash. Basically, you are going to pay just about 200 crores of tax for the next 3 years. It would mean about 600 to 700 crores of cash flow.
Yes, sir.
Operating cash flow in your P&L. Is broadly the number?
That should be around the numbers, sir. Yes, sir.
So how much promoters hold now in the company?
62%, sir. That's after, I think, once we
Before
see
IPO, 64%.
4%.
Post IPO, it will be around 62%.
And the remaining is with?
After IPO, if you look at it, sir, 8% will be roughly, I'm beginning, sir, 8% would be TPG, 4% with IFC. The rest will be with the public markets of IPOs.
नहीं IPO से पहले किस किसके पास था सर? 64% जो है आपका?
Basically, it was 27% it was 27% with PPG and 73 with us, sir. That is including BBK family. Then it became, we gave 4% to IFC. Then it became, I think, 26 and 71. Now it will be after IPO, fresh issue, and all that, it will come down to that 64 for the families.
Can you talk a bit, Anjan, on the IPO? Like, what is the size? Whether it's an IPO or offer for sale?
Yeah. So the fresh issue of the shares is to the tune of 50 crore rupees. So it is of 1,09,85,444 equity shares. The issue size is 420 crore for the issue size of 420 crore, of which the fresh issue is for 50 crore rupees, and the price band is 421 rupees with upper limit of 428 rupees, and a bid lot of 35 shares, and in that multiples of.
It's majorly OFS.
Yes. Out
Why
of
do you want to
520,
list?
50 crores is fresh issue, and the remaining is OFS.
So who is selling TPG or the promoters?
TPG is selling the majority of the OFS portion. So earlier they were having pre-issue, so they were at 25.7%. Post-issue, their share will become 9.8%. And the remaining are promoters group.
62, promoter 64, sorry, sir.
So it's more, the IPO has become more of a necessity for the exit of the private equities.
No, so because they are still holding 10 plus IFC 14, 13, 14, 15, 14% they're holding.
No, but I think he asked a good question that why do you want to list? Because you're already sitting on cash, right? You're a net cash company, doing very well. सब अच्छा हो रहा है तो पैसा क्यों चाहिए आपको?
So paisa, that's what I'm saying, sir. More than paisa, we are looking at that IPO for me. Is like I said, it gets more discipline for us, more transparency as we go forward to retain talent, sir. So my dream is not where we are just the beginning, sir. It's not the end for us by going IPO.
जी, आप तो इतने अच्छे हो सर, आप तो 25 साल से काम कर रहे हो. You have been disciplined, and that is why the company has reached these heights, right?
Precisely, sir. 25 साल से हूँ, but अगला 25 साल के लिए discipline चाहिए ना, sir. जब तक we are not immortal to be there. So that is my whole intention of the growth, sir. Because I'm saying if we don't go into something which is far better than what we are today, the 0 to 2000 is one kind of a growth. So from 2000, if you're growing further, the whole animal changes. It's not the same animal. So it becomes more of the professionals. The first question you asked about ESOP, we have to get more people involved in terms of, they're also becoming, it cannot be driven by a few people. It has to become a much larger entity. And that is where I hope that this company will go forward. So from promoter to professional, and it's not easy. I'm not saying just because I go IPO ho jayega. It is a process of the journey. So abhi shuru hone se, it will start, then we go further. And therefore we are going. It is not that the sake of money that we are going for IPO. Today, when I live in the private equity world, I can get a far bigger check at far better valuation in the private world because I've already proven myself there. APIDC DCL 98 mein aaya, usko return diya. Protera Capital aaya, usko return diya. TPG aaya, now they've taken partial return. I have got IFC on board. So the private equity guys are questioning me the other way, saying, why do you want to go public now? You can rather be in the private world before you go public.
But why does a private equity investor now want to exit? You say you can get more money from private equity people, but TPG is exiting now.
That's what, there was nobody willing to sell, sir. I was not willing to sell. TPG was not willing to sell. So I had to drag them saying that if we have to go now and prepare ourselves for the next leap, kisi na kisi ko bhejna padega. So if I am not selling, company does not want money, and I'll fight tooth and nail for the company not to take money because I don't need the money in the company. So kaun bechega, so then we have to convince them. That is why otherwise they would have been selling a sizable lot. So it was a matter of how do you come to the optimal size, how do you sell, learn.
So आपने क्या सिखाया सर TPG को ऐसा कि वो he was ready to sell what 17-18% stake in the company because the kind of opportunity
also, sir, I bought them on board with the intention of when I took TPG money, I didn't need the money, sir. They gave it to Protera. So my agreement with TPG was you help us become a bigger company, a better company, help us go to the stage of public, and that's what my contention with them was. I didn't need them to help me in the dairy business. So Protera helped me in the dairy business. TPG helped me in the going into the phase of growing bigger, becoming public. How do we go forward? So that was the intention.
Because as we calculated, you will have an operating cash flow of over 500 crores in the next 3 years, right? वो पैसा तो
Sir,
होगा. आपके लिए तो problem होगा कि पैसा कैसे और use करने का.
Oh, exactly right, sir. And that is where we want to go. When you keep asking, our agla step is not going to be the 1 lakh, 2 lakh that we were growing, sir. हो सकता है तो अगर एक कुछ opportunity मिला तो एक ही बार 5 लाख लीटर कैसा increase कर सकते हैं. That is our basic aim of growing, sir. That is what I keep saying for the M&A versus the organic growth.
Good, sir. Good. Tejas bhai.
Just one more thing, again, how do you justify this market cap? Because I was again just doing the rough calculation. The OCF annually will be about 150, 200 crores, and your market cap that you're looking for is about 2,500 crores. So that's a yield of about 6-7%. It is not substantially, or it's basically roughly about the risk-free yield. I would be better off buying a government bond, frankly speaking, at 6% than investing in your company in that sense. I'm
Sir,
trying to understand.
sir, I understand that dairy industry looks like as though it is giving the 15% only returns, a risk return that is returning and they're not giving spectacular. Sir. But the other side of the coin, at least it is always done well to give you that. Sir. It is not going to be the risky thing. And you wait and you move it forward, take it 5 years later, for 2000 it's a double the number or more, little more than double the number, and then you do the same multiplication. Then you will find this stock to be cheaper. The same thing if you do the plotting about, let's say, our peer Hatsun, and you plot along with the Dodla, you will see that same trajectories. So here it is going to be that steadfast, hardworking, and bringing and building and building and growing. It is not going to be some flash in the pan that will happen. I'm not saying that will happen as a flash in the pan, but very clearly it will grow steadily. We have learned the skill now. We've got the systems in place. It took us so long to build that. Paisa aap bol rahe, sir. Pehle se paisa nahi tha, sir. We grew without the money also. Pehli baar we're having money with us to start putting together to grow bigger. We have learned to grow from 5 crore profit a year redeploying to where we are today, where we are talking of deploying 100-150 crores per annum. We have not learned this game overnight. It took us 23 years, 5 crores, 10 crores, 20 crores. That way we kept adding. When you look at our 600 crore of gross block, wo kahan se aaya? 20 years of effort se aaya. It started with hardly 5 crores of equity.
So, one more thing, in the DRHP, only 3 years of financials are given. There is not much given before the 3 years. Can you just help us understand what are the financials looking like before, say, the last 10 years? How many years did you take to double up your numbers every time to reach this kind of a number now? If you can just throw some light, some highlights on that. What will be margin, gross margin, all of that?
No, I think because all this Ind AS and a lot of these things came into picture when we were filing the DRHP, sir. That is why it was, I think they had this trouble. Hello?
Because 3 years is a very short history to really understand how have you done financially in the past cycles.
Actually, show you guys better. If it was earlier also, I could have given you where we were and how we were growing, sir.
No, sir. Okay, like Anjan might have this, right? आपने पहला 100 crore कितने साल में कमाया?
From our inception of 98 to this we have, sir. I can give you whatever it is that we had from them.
Okay.
From 98.
So it will help us to understand the journey of the company, because it's very important to understand the last 20 years, what kind of cycles we have seen, how have you come through the stress periods to come out trumps through those stress periods.
That's a strength which I'm trying to educate, trying to tell you guys. So I'll try to send it over as soon as the call is over. We'll email it to you, sir.
Yeah, that will be fantastic, sir.
Yeah, one more question also he has asked. See, we have 2014, we were 1,000 crores. 1920, we became 2,100 crores.
Okay, it took 6 years.
In 5 years, we have doubled, more than doubled.
अच्छा सुनील जी ये तो आपको याद होगा ना which was the most stressful time in the last 20 years
in terms of profitability, sir?
In terms of whatever.
Yeah, generally profitability because that's the benchmark.
Stressful years, sir, because earlier than that there were a lot of stressful years which we forgot as we grow older. But the last stressful year was 2008, sir.
But that was majorly because of the external crisis, right?
No, external crisis. So what happened was that when you said the cooperatives, sir, at that point of time, the cooperatives actually made us turn around because we were fighting the battle of trying to keep up with the cooperatives. 2008 May, where the areas where we were operating, the cooperatives took up the procurement prices saying, let them crash and burn, they won't be able to fund it. And that is the year we broke away from cooperative selling price and increased our own selling price. And the markets didn't dip. From there has been no turning back because whenever we need a margin hike, we were increasing and going forward. So till then we tried to match with the cooperatives. I think 2008 or 2007-8.
Yeah, 2007-8 only.
We took that flip of saying we will not peg ourselves to the cooperatives. We increase selling price more than the cooperatives and also pass back a little bit of that to the farmer. And then that is the day we broke out from the cooperative structure and we were on our own.
So one more question, it's a bit late, but just, going back to the market size, okay, you said privates are 54%, corporate is
Area.
about 6%.
Yeah.
Right. What is the total market, including the unorganized?
Sir, that as I told you, sir, the number is very difficult to give for unorganized, sir. Because people say captive consumption in the village lay low, only market lay low. That is the chaotic area. So, like I'm saying, I do not know how much the farmer is consuming at the village and giving me the rest.
No, not that, but the
Only organized.
unorganized urban part, where you are active.
Maybe
I'm talking about that, the local dairies.
25% होगा sir, और ज़्यादा volume में.
Okay. So it's like one third kind of split between you, the
I mean, you can say 40-40-20.
40-40-20. Okay.
What is the biggest learning as an entrepreneur, sir, for you in the last 25 years?
Sir, to be collaborative with people, sir.
And what's the biggest mistake if
Sorry, sir. If you can learn to imbibe what good is there in others and move it forward, everything does well.
Got it. And if you may want to share, sir, what would have been the biggest mistake for you as an entrepreneur in the last 20 years?
Getting into business without getting properly educated and a little more of the multifold, sir. The so-called MBA, if I could do it, or the knowledge you call, right, the rounded knowledge of difference between P&L and balance sheet, difference in learning a little more of process and systems, a little more, we could have accelerated far more, sir. So like BVK is a hardcore ops man. I like a little bit of finance, which I learned along the way. We blended along, so sort of it came together. But if all of us knew more about how it is there, then we could have done far better in terms of the scalability and going forward. And
Did I
also,
hear-
the personal requirements change. So पहला जब शुरू किया, अगर महीने के लिए खर्चा के लिए पैसा कमाएंगे, was the attitude when you start the business. Then along the way, when the materialistic requirements get satisfied, then your thinking changes more. Today, for me, the profit or loss doesn't make much of a difference in terms of my personal life. I'm very contented. I have 2 daughters. They're married. They're settled. Now it changes more to what can you see further? What can you do? What can you build? So, but 20 years ago, when we just started, घर खरीदने का है, school fees pay करने का, that used to be the motive. Once that motive is done, the whole thing changes. So like today, when you're saying 62%, 64%, out of that 55%, we have moved it into a trust. So that liquidation does not happen unless it's required by everybody. It's saying, I was not the only contributor for this company to come to this stage. There were so many contributors, right from the drivers we had to, like BVK has spent his lifetime with us. There are at least hundreds of people who build along the way. So hoping that this continues along the way.
Can you talk a bit more about the trust?
There's nothing, sir. I just created it a year or two ago, trying to say that this will be the thing that people should not disregard the company for their own in future, for their own whims and fancies to just throw it around. But if all of them agree, they can use it, but otherwise not to use it. So nobody should get tempted. Like I said, today, my material needs might have been met, but 2 or 3 decades later, when somebody else comes, if their materialistic needs are not met, they shouldn't come to eat away what is available in a good company.
Very nice, sir. Very nice. Did I hear it right, Anjan, that you just joined a few months back?
Yeah, January.
Yeah, in the month of January.
So who was looking at the finance department earlier, sir?
We had another gentleman called Hemant, sir. I was Hemant, see, BVK CEO, Anjan reports to BVK directly, dotted line to me, because I like to do a little more of these things. And that is the way it is. Earlier than that was Hemant, sir.
Sir. And you also mentioned you have 6 daughters.
2 daughters, sir.
2 daughters, sorry. And no, मैं बोला बाकी लक्ष्मी माँ घर पे आपके सर तो और क्या चाहिए? This is the biggest thing. बाकी
तो IPO और 10 साल के बाद जाना पड़ेगा.
बहुत अच्छा था. तो in terms of family, there is anyone else who is looking at business apart from you? जैसे आपने बोला पापा जी हैं. Papa ji is the chairman, right?
Yeah, my father is the chairman, sir. He's around 80 now.
Yeah, but anyone else from the family?
Right now, my daughter acts as a consultant, sir. She did her education in dairy sciences and all that from Madison, Wisconsin, my elder daughter.
Lovely.
Basically, like we said, we have an R&D farm. She is more with that, trying to see what can happen there, whether we should continue with it, not continue with it, what we should do with it. So my intention is hopefully somebody is at least interested to come forward to keep it going, sir.
My last question, sir. थोड़ा सा stupid question. मैं थोड़ा सा इंडियावादी ज़्यादा हूँ. तो तेजस भाई ने आपको डोडला वर्सेस अमूल किया. because every company whoever comes into this sector, we always think about Amul. आपने कुछ international देखा होगा सर, मुझे लगता है कि इंडिया में ऐसे ही ठीक है, आप 2,500 crore का market cap ठीक है, but I'm just saying what are the companies overseas, how big are they, what have they done, what are the best practices, what they have done? Have you done any study, Anjan, BVK sir, या आपने कुछ ऐसा कुछ?
I'll give you a very quick brief, sir. Every year we get the top 10. Only last 2 years ago did Amul join the top 10 in terms of
Top 20.
being in the list of the top 10 dairy companies. Amul joining there, which is a sense of pride from India that an Indian company has went and joined that. But if it go always, it starts with Nestle, sir, and then all our family companies. Your Lactalis, your Danone, US there's another cooperative. So 50-50 between cooperative and family private companies.
अच्छा, तो बाहर भी सब family run businesses हैं.
Yes.
Very nice, very. And what could be the size of those companies, sir?
Like if you look at, I'm not sure exact. Danone is I think $7-8 billion, sir. Muller is the last is Muller, who's Germany. They're around 3 billion, 4 billion. Sir.
Wow.
Nestle around 2022.
So a long way to go for the industry in India, right?
Precisely what I'm trying to say, sir. When you ask me the question, why 2000? It is only other than the IT or the old industry, sir. In India, when we start to grow, we face a lot of difficulties because of that management change, thinking change to happen. I think now the next generation have all come to that. They are able to do that. And that's why we are seeing larger, when you say the word unicorns coming in and all that, to move away from not only operations to a bigger picture is where I think that's what I've told you again repeatedly. When you say IPO, this, now the whole story changes for us. Otherwise, It was our boardroom. Today, you will ask me a question. Somebody will ask us a question. Yes, I answer it to you, but it also makes us think what we have to do next.
You answered all the questions very honestly and beautifully, sir. I think I am done with my questions. But thank you so much. If you have any questions to ask us, sir, we are also very happy to answer to you anything. So don't worry, we were the only one who were asking you questions.
No, not that way, sir. Hopefully that as we go along, like you said, you are a new channel that you have started. It reminds us that you have to encourage us that you keep track of us, keep asking us what's going on. आज बात हो गया, but एक साल के बाद फिर रिप्ले करके बोलने का क्या बोलते हैं उस दिन क्या हो रहा है अभी?
नहीं सर, आपने एक चीज बहुत अच्छा बोला सुनील सर कि everyone thinks कि बड़ा काम करने से बड़े लोग बनते हैं, but actually छोटा काम सही तरीके करने से ही बड़े बनते हैं. So that is
repeatedly.
I'll
give you an example of BVK, sir. When you say first 10 years, it was 7 days a week. Now Dodla works 6 days a week. Anjan is more young. He'll come and say, sir, whole world is at 5 days a week. What are you guys doing at 6 days a week? And to put it frankly, I don't think BVK knows what else to do other than come to office every day.
Anjan, good luck to you, okay? अभी IPO के बाद 7 दिन काम करना पड़ेगा हफ्ते में, ठीक है?
Definitely.
No, thank you so much, gentlemen.
That's great.
I'm very happy that you were very, 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 very honest, seriously. And you did everything. I like your passion, Sunil sir. I really, really admire your passion. Thank you so much, okay, for being here.
Yeah, it was a very enriching discussion. I think we understood a lot more about the dairy industry and where you stand in the entire market. Really gave us a good perspective.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.